singer of Blondie. She sold 40 million records and touched the lives of boys she never even met. Their first new record in 16 years. No Eggs will be in stores February 23rd. Deborah, Harry! Great pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much. Okay.
See you again.
All right, well, welcome to our special show in honor of the American Music Awards.
Thank you.
Your thing, Dick. Now, I want to also say, being January 8th, it is the birthday. We don't usually say happy birthday to viewers, but one of our viewers is 64. Mr. Elvis Presley, happy birthday wherever you are. And I thought it would just especially appropriate, since we have a music show and since it is Elvis's birthday, to ask the question. I've asked it on the show before, what did he die of? And my answer is always bad management. I think
that's a joke, but it's true.
It is true, you think?
Absolutely.
Colonel Parker.
He was the epitome of the bad manager.
What a bastard, yeah.
I kept my lips zipped for a lot of years, and finally I had it up here. When a manager makes more money than the artist, something's wrong.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, he was dreadful.
Next.
Yeah, he took a lot of money, and but more than that, he kept Elvis in ruts. You know, and Elvis was unfortunately unable to break out of that. First he had him in the movie rut, and then he had him in the Vegas rut.
He convinced him he should be a recluse. Right. Surrounded him by people who said, yes, that's not a way to live.
It was the isolation, I think, that was really the deadly part of his existence.
But I wonder what would happen to Elvis today with the kind of media scrutiny we have, because nowadays we find out things about people as they're doing them.
Right.
Taking point in case the president, okay? I mean, all the presidents did stuff. We only found out about it years later. Now we find out nowadays. Now, I mean, Elvis...
I think he had such immunity from the American public because, you know, he struck a chord in all of us. You know, and the fact that he would go out there in a jumpsuit with Depends on a WWF belt, it was okay. You know, for some reason.
Yeah. But that was way later.
It was late, but don't think they weren't very vicious in the 70s as well. You know, I read a lot of cream magazines that said they were.
Right, what's it?
I always liked the Rhinestones myself.
Those Rhinestones were fresh.
Him and Evel Knievel, you know, the rhinestone thing. They had to work satin and rhinestones.
Takes a real man to wear rhinestones.
But, you know, he only got fat in the last 2 years. But before that, he used to get fat between public appearances, but nobody knew about it because he'd get fat, and then when he had to go back and work, he'd get thin. I hear he took drugs.
Oh.
Well, you know, I think that, even now, but more so back then, that was one of the ways the record companies and the management controlled the artists through drugs.
Oh, that had nothing. Come on.
I totally believe that. Okay, I can give you for instance. I won't say any names because I don't want to embarrass anybody. But I know of a group, a really popular black band in the 70s, and the lead singer got paid off in cocaine a couple of times.
Well, that was the OJs, but...
No, but, you know...
And then they killed their wives, but...
Dick and I were talking about this. I think it was a way to anesthetize Elvis. You know, by maybe the drug use and sort of like maybe... I mean, I know it's all hearsay, and I know it's a lot of rhetoric, but I believe it could have been one of the contributing factors.
His basic problem was he was surrounded by nobody who really cared. When his mother died, even his father and his friends and his doctor, they did whatever he wanted, and he was a weak man by then. He was a tragically... I can't even figure the word. He's just a tragic man.
Fat?
Doctor on the payroll.
No, I wasn't fat. Wasn't coming out of my mouth. I liked the man. I thought he was humble. He was nice. He was kind. He was generous, overly generous.
Yeah, but that was one side of him, Dick. He also could be a real bastard, and he was... Oh, come on.
Shot out a couple of television sets. What?
That's cool.
But you know...
No.
But you know, there wasn't anybody as big as him during his time, so that was a lot of pressure, man. You got to think about the kind of pressure he was under. I mean,
right.
You know, we go through it from time to time, but it's not.
You're right. The Beatles.
You know, I'm not nearly under the kind of pressure, or any of us under the kind of pressure he was under, because everybody was looking at him. Everybody knew who he was. Everybody don't know who I am. Okay, your grandmother probably don't know who I am.
Yeah,
unless she watches the show.
We're going to talk about the people who do. We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Planning to be in the Los Angeles area and would like free tickets to Politically Incorrect, call 323-575-4321.
Okay, we're back now. Coolio, the last time you were here, you were a little late for the taping because you were golfing.
Right.
And I know, that alone is
It's
funny.
a good visual.
Well, I could have been playing basketball, though.
No, I mean, no, that's not where I was going with that. But I'm just saying, now, I personally am actively against golf. But that's just my thing.
Well, you know, for
how do you-
most of my life, so was I, until I played the first time. When I played the first time, it was like drugs. I
It's
got
just...
hooked.
But it's just so wrong for you to golf. Come on.
Well, I mean,
It's wrong. It's wrong for anyone. I mean, I know Tiger Woods is a big hero, but I've said many times, I don't care how many black people play golf, it'll never be cool.
Okay, look.
Golf is not cool.
See, golf clothes look real cool. Those little sweaters, and I wear them without. I got nice arms, so I wear them with no shirt under. You know. And you know what? Golf clothing has become a fashion statement now. You know what I'm saying? So I really started playing golf.
How can you retain any sort of
from
Well,
Nike.
he doesn't have to join a country club.
Yeah, I didn't join a country club.
See?
It doesn't matter whether you join. How do you
Man, come
retain
on, I
any
play
sort of
golf.
street credibility
I play golf
when you're out playing golf?
Okay, I'll tell you what. Everybody, a lot of people in my neighborhood had golf clubs. We just didn't hit balls with them.
Come on.
Yeah, seriously.
But don't you think an artist has a hard time, you know, it's like everybody becomes big by singing about how much they had nothing, and then they give you everything. How do you
But
retain?
they're supposed to be a victim because of their own success, because they worked hard, they made something themselves. I mean, a lot of people, like, sort of attain the pinnacle of success, like Ice-T, and give back to the community, you know? I think it's very subjective, and I think it can be done. I don't think you should ever be victim of your success because you worked hard.
Exactly. And the
All
other thing...
artists remember their roots. I mean, Hemingway had to be poor one time.
Elvis Presley, we were talking about him earlier, you know?
Yeah, but look what happened to Elvis
Graceland.
Presley. He made clam bake.
Well, Graceland was right next to a Burger King. You got to understand
But
that.
Elvis Presley is a perfect example. I mean, he was great when he was, like, young and hip and funny.
But see, I still...
And then
I
he
like
became
fat
a...
years, Bill. I love the fat years. A lot of good gospel came out of that era.
See,
Well,
but listen,
what I said,
nobody
I
likes
still
the
hang
movie
out with a lot of the
soundtrack.
same people that I hung out with before I became successful.
On the golf course?
Yeah, all my... But now, this is no lie. The 40 Thieves, that's one of my groups. I thought... I didn't teach them how to play golf. We learned how to play together. We all wanted to learn. Their stepdad plays golf, and we went and played golf with him. See? That's why I learned. In the hood, on Washington and El Segundo, at Chester, Washington Golf Course. That's right. And people be getting robbed on the golf course. Everybody walking around with their guns.
One of the roughest courses in the country.
That's right. See? It's still the same. It's not what it is. It's how you are. It's what kind of person you are. I'm still the same person, man. Come on.
How can you be the same person?
I still wash my own clothes. I still go to the grocery store and buy bread.
You do?
Yeah.
God, I don't. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come right back. Okay, we were talking about whether you can play golf and so forth and retain your credibility. What about Christian rock? There's something that always seems like a contradiction. And I read more and more about it, and I know it's on the charts some places.
That's right. It's getting huge. The thing is, it's like, you know, with the moral decay of teenagers today, believe me, I know, God bless them, but...
Which you're contributing to as much as you can.
Well, I'd rather think of golf as a form of religion than Christianity. I mean,
well, that is
Really?
true.
yeah.
But, you
Well,
know,
to many people it is. Many people care so much more about their golf game than they do about anything else.
I don't.
I know, but that's why golf is dangerous, because people become obsessed with it.
Right.
And it really is just a place to get away from your wife.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that.
Let me get to the point of this.
Christian rock, because rock and roll is really all about rebellion and sex.
No,
come on, Dick. Dick, who would know better?
I have been there from time immemorial,
Yes.
since the Stone Age. All kinds of people sing all kinds of music. It doesn't make any difference. You can be very, very religious. If you happen to like rock music, then you put it out that way.
Rock and roll was about scaring your parents, being bad, and sex.
No.
Lots and lots of sex.
It's
That
like-
was the big... Debbie
can't beat
Harry,
'em.
please.
Was
you
it
can't beat them,
definitely
join
about
them
sex?
type philosophy.
Call me.
Yes, absolutely.
Phyllis, if you can't beat them, join them philosophy. You know, it used to be shout at the devil. Now it's now yelled loudly at Jesus. You know what I mean? It's like another avenue to take to, like, to, you know, preach the word of God to children, which I understand. You know,
And you gotta
I think David Koresh took the pyro a little too far. But other than that,
music is actually music. It really is, and it doesn't matter what form of music it is. It's still music. It's made with instruments and it's made with drums, and people listen to it. And it doesn't matter what form of music it is. If you're praising God, then that's the important thing. Or if you're
But that's gospel music.
No,
But that's gospel music.
It's gospel rock.
Yeah,
It's like a
crossing over. It's
gospel rap,
crossing
and
over.
But that's not Christian rock.
the Lord knows
Christian
no
rock
avenues.
Same thing.
is trying to put together two things that are antithetical.
Nah.
Oh, come on.
Come on,
You can't-
music is music. Okay. Take away the words from rock, and what is it?
It's music, but it always had a clandestine appeal. That was the energy of it, and the attraction was the seductive kind of, you know, clandestine, forbidden world that was private, that was away from the adult world, that was away from, you know, society or approved social activity, and it was very, you know, like teenage and very robust in that
Jesus is
atmosphere.
the original rock star.
But it's changed. It's definitely
OG rock star, man. You see the look? He's got the Chris Cornell '91 Soundgarden thing.
no, it's totally changed.
Those were the roots 100 years ago when kids were
Exactly.
rebelling.
Right.
It became a form of music. The longest lasting form of music. Rap hip-hop may get there in the next 30 years, but this thing's been around for 40 years.
It's only
Exactly,
12 chords.
exactly.
There's only 12 chords, and it's how you manipulate
That's
them, and there's
right.
plenty of avenues people take
So
them
what
down.
difference is there if it's
But I
a
agree with you,
positive
though.
message or a rebellious message?
You agree with me?
I do
After all
agree.
this?
Just trying to look good in front of my mom.
Well,
At any rate, though, really though, you just got to break it down, man. You just got to look at it, because rap was the same thing. It started out as people just basically talking nonsense. They wasn't talking about anything to a beat. It became a lot more than that. People started talking about issues, and they started talking about different things.
Well, what do you think of white rap, then? What do you think about Vanilla
you know
Ice
what?
and people like that
Vanilla
who
Ice,
come in?
okay, let me tell you what Vanilla Ice's problem. He really didn't have any skills.
But you
Now,
think it would...
Take MC Search.
Yeah.
MC Search had skills. He was white. He was
He's nice,
Jewish,
too.
as a matter of fact. And take Pete.
Jewish?
That's
Oh,
right.
my God, you can't get much whiter than that.
And he was... So what? What makes you... Okay, according to...
So it's okay if
according
me
to
or
the
Dick
world,
Clark
what
made a
makes you
rap
white,
record.
What makes
I
you
made
white
a
or
rap
black
record in
is
the
your skin.
50s.
You did not.
I swear I did.
So you invented rap.
I'll play it for you. I will play it for you. It was called Jenkins Band. I put the name Stan
Oh, right.
Freeman on it, and I did it. And it was the
Right.
worst thing
And
you
you
ever
said-
heard in your life.
I'm Dick Clark. I'm the
Have you
kind of that's built to last.
Have you ever
You mess with me, I'll put my foot in your ass. I remember that.
Have you ever heard French rap?
You need this.
French
Stop.
and Italian rap?
French rap. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go to France, you'll
I've
hear
heard
them
it.
rap.
Oh
on.
yeah, in Germany, I
And
just heard a
Japanese.
group in Germany called the Afro-Listics. They're incredible.
Have you
They got
noticed something about
skills.
this? The four of us are against him in almost all these issues
Yeah,
so
but I
far.
control the commercials. We'll be right back.
Doing it on purpose.
Join us Monday when our guests will be Joan Collins and Barbara Olson.
All right, now we're talking about what goes into making music, and certainly for better or worse, many times for worse, of course, drugs is part of that. Coolio, I know you've talked to your kids about drugs, mostly about price. I'm kidding. But Carol O'Connor, who recently had done a series of television ads, and they're running now, about saying, you know, when it comes to that, you have to tell your kid, you have to take away all your kids' civil rights. That's his point, is that these are your kids, this is the problem, and therefore take no prisoners.
Well, you do that, you take away all their civil rights, go through their diaries, go through their clothes, and you know what you get? You get a kid on drugs.
That's, I think you're probably
All right,
right.
Yeah,
so keep that up.
I mean,
Keep that up. You know?
That's a judgment call that, you know, you just can't make a sort of a blanket statement about that. I mean, each individual situation is entirely different, you know, and I think when a person gets to the point of taking drugs, you know, there has to be a point long before that, you know, a parent should be intuitive about a person's needs, or you know, something's
But
happening there.
teenagers don't always take drugs for a desperate need like adults do. They do it because
They fall into it.
Well, because
no,
it's
there's,
around.
No, there's more information
Because they're
about
experimental.
It's peer pressure.
See you again.
All right, well, welcome to our special show in honor of the American Music Awards.
Thank
And
you.
your thing, Dick. Now, I want to also say, being January 8th, it is the birthday. We don't usually say happy birthday to viewers, but one of our viewers is 64. Mr. Elvis Presley, happy birthday wherever you are. And Marker.
He was the epitome of the bad manager.
What a bastard, yeah.
I kept my lips zipped for a lot of years, and finally I had it up to here. When a manager makes more money than the artist, something's wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he was dreadful.
Next.
Yeah, he took a lot of money, and he... Singer of Blondie, she sold 40 million records and touched the lives of boys she never even met. Their first new record in 16 years, No Exit, will be in stores February 23rd. Deborah, Harry! Great pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much. Okay, but more than that, he kept Elvis in ruts. You know, and Elvis was unfortunately unable to break out of that. First he had him in the movie rut, and then he had him in the Vegas rut.
He convinced him he should be a recluse.
Right.
Surrounded him by people who said, yes, that's not a way to live.
It's the isolation, I think.
I thought it would just especially appropriate, since we have a music show and since it is Elvis's birthday, to ask the question. I've asked it on the show before, what did he die of? And my answer is always bad management. I think
That's a joke, but it's true.
it is true, you think?
Absolutely.
Colonel